In 7th standard, third lesson is Bahmani Adil Shah. Bahmani Adil Shah was established in the northern part of Vijayanagar Empire in the year of 1347 century. So, Bahmani Adil Shah dynasty, Alauddin Hasan Gangu Bahman Shah was the founder of Bahmani dynasty. Here, Vijayanagar Empire dynasty. Who was the founder of Vijayanagar Empire? Krishnadevaraya. Here, same thing in Bahmani Adil Shah dynasty. Alauddin Hasan Gangu Bahman Shah was the founder of the Bahmani dynasty. And Bidar is the capital of Bahmani dynasty. And Tajuddin Firoz Shah was a great sultan in Bahmani dynasty. Tajuddin was a great leader. Tajuddin was a first leader of a great sultan, and he built a new city. That new city name we called as Firozabad. Where he has built that Firozabad on the bank of river Bhima. All the credits of making Bahmani dynasty great goes to Muhammad Gawan. Muhammad Gawan was a great leader. This all credit will go to Muhammad Gawan only. Muhammad Gawan was a great leader and he was a great Islamic religious and he was a legend leader, and he was established in many educational institutions, and he gave for free education for many people, poor people, as well as he built up 3,000 manuscripts in the library of modern Madrasa, and many religion leaders on. Actually, he gave much importance for poor people because some people they can't afford a fees for school purpose. So he gave a good opportunity for that people. He gave a free education for people. So many religion leaders are opposed to him. Their leaders are jealous on him. So some leaders were murdered for Muhammad Gawan. And last, what they have declared, children. And the tomb of Gawan, they written as that innocent Muhammad Gawan was killed. After that, after Muhammad Gawan, Adil Shah, Bahmani Adil Shah kingdom was divided into 5 states of Shahs. What are the 5 states? Here, first is Adil Shah of Vijayapur. Vijayapur means Bijapur. If we come to the in Bijapur famous place is which one the famous place? Gol Gumbaz. Gol Gumbaz tomb. Gol Gumbaz is a famous place, and Adil Shah was built this Gol Gumbaz, and this is the first largest dome in our India. Second is Barid Shahs of Bidar. Third is Qutub Shahs of Golconda. Fourth is Nizam Shahs of Ahmednagar. Fifth, last is Imad Shahs of Berar. This was the Bahmani Adil Shah's kingdom was many leaders, and they have divided into 5 states. These 5 states are important, and in this what they have given education, art, architecture, sculptures, everything we will study it deeply in our class. Okay children, thank you.
शुभोदय. ओके, जून मंथ का सिलेबस कंप्लीट करें लोग. ओके, गुड चिल्ड्रन यू आर. अब हम स्टार्ट करेंगे पार्ट 3, लेसन नंबर 3, सुनो मेरी कहानी. ओके, कौन सुना रहा है कहानी इधर? यस, पेड़ अपने दुख का कहानी सुना रहा है. ओके, पेड़ से हमको क्या क्या लाभ है? ओके, क्या है? पेड़ हमको छाया देती है, अच्छी हवा देती है. पेड़ों से हम तरह तरह के उपकरण बनाते हैं. इतने उपयोगिता के पेड़ हम मानव ने क्या कर रहा है? काट रहा है. इसलिए पेड़ इधर अपने दुख का कहानी हमको सुना रहा है. इस पाठ में हम पेड़ के महत्व के बारे में हम सीखते हैं. ओके, आओ बच्चों मेरी छाया में आकर खेलो. तुम्हें देखकर मुझे बड़ी प्रसन्नता होती है. मैं तुम्हें अपनी कहानी सुनाता हूँ. कौन कह रहा है? पेड़ कह रहा है. आओ बच्चों मेरी छाया में. पेड़ कितनी छाया देता है. ओके, एग्जाम्पल नीम ट्री. नीम ट्री इट इज इक्वल्स टू 1 नीम ट्री इट इज इक्वल्स टू 1 AC रूम. यू नो चिल्ड्रन? यस, आओ बच्चों मेरी छाया में आकर खेलो. तुम्हें देखकर मुझे बड़ी प्रसन्नता होती है. तुम बच्चों को देखकर पेड़ को बहुत प्रसन्नता होती है. देखो मेरे 3 हिस्से होते हैं। पेड़ों को कितने हिस्से होते हैं? 3 हिस्से होते हैं। अब पहला पत्ते और टहनियाँ, दूसरा तना और तीसरा जड़ें। ओके, पत्ते, ओके, टहनियाँ, पत्ते मीन्स लीव्स, ओके, टहनियाँ क्या है? शाखाएं मीन्स ब्रांचेस, ओके, शाखाएं। You can see many branches are there in the tree, no? Okay, like that. टहनियाँ क्या कहते हैं? टहनियाँ। फर्स्ट क्या है? पहला पत्ते, टहनियाँ, ओके। दूसरा क्या होता है? तना। क्या होता है? तना। What you say in the English? Stem, okay. Next तीसरा क्या होता है? जड़ा, ओके, रूट। What you are saying now? Root it is, okay. क्या कितने हैं? कितने हिस्से होते हैं? पत्ते, टहनियाँ एक, तना दूसरा, तीसरा क्या होता है? जड़ों, ओके। पत्तों के जरिए मैं हवा से सांस लेता हूँ। पत्ता के जरिए, हाउ इट इज ब्रीथिंग ट्री? थ्रू द लीव्स, ओके। पत्तों के जरिए मैं सांस लेता हूँ। मेरे कई भाई हैं जिनके नाम है बरगद, सॉरी, मैं जड़ों से पानी चूस लेता हूँ। मैं जड़ों से कैसे पानी चूस लाता है? हम पानी डालते हैं ना पेड़ को, कैसे है? इधर नीचे हम क्यों डालते हैं? जड़ों से पेड़ पानी चूस लेता है, ओके। जड़ों से पानी चूस लेता हूँ। पत्तों के जरिए मैं हवा से सांस लेता हूँ। सांस पत्तों के जरिए, पानी जड़ों के जरिए लाते हैं। कौन? पेड़, ओके। मेरे कई भाई हैं जिसके नाम है बरगद। many trees we can see, varieties of trees we can see, no? So बरगद, पीपल, आम, इमली, अबनूस, कटहल, देवदार आदि। ऐसे तरह तरह के हम पेड़ों को देख सकते हैं। ऐसे उपयोग पेड़ को क्या कहते हैं मानो? इधर आदमी मुझे तोड़ता है, मुझे काटता है, परंतु उनकी भलाई के लिए मैं वहाँ सब बर्दाश्त करता हूँ। इतना सहन शक्ति है पेड़ को, मानो कितना कष्ट दिए तो भी, काटने से भी क्या करता है? पेड़ उपयोग देता है हमको। मुझे काट कर वहाँ अपना घर बनाता है, तरह तरह के उपकरण बनाता है। ऐसे दुख का कहानी हमको पेड़ इधर सुना रहा है। कुछ पेड़ों की लकड़ियाँ जलाने के काम आती हैं। और before in the olden days they were cooking with the sticks, okay, you know children. मैं सभी को अपना छाया देकर उनकी थकावट दूर करता हूँ। बच्चे सचमुच, some of the children, naughty children, what they are doing? They are throwing wantedly to the stones on the trees, okay. बच्चे मुझ पर पत्थर फेंकते हैं, पर मैं उन पर गुस्सा नहीं करता। उन्हें अपने फल खिलाता हूँ। मीठे मीठे फल खाते हैं, किससे? पेड़ों से। कुछ नटखट लड़के मेरे तने में अपना नाम खोदते हैं। उस समय मुझे पीड़ा होती है, लेकिन मैं कुछ नहीं बोलता, चुपचाप सह लेता हूँ। पेड़ हमको आकर मारता है? नहीं। कितना कष्ट हम देने से भी वो फल देते हैं, मीठे मीठे पानी देते हैं, नारिकेल, ओके। इस तरह क्या बच्चे क्या बड़े, मैं सबका काम आता हूँ। इसलिए पेड़ अपने कैसे सुना रहा है? दुख का सुख का कहानी इधर सुना रहा है। बच्चे पेड़ नहीं काटते ना, पेड़ों को संरक्षण करना हमारा कर्तव्य है, ओके। ओके, आपके लिए स्टडी मटेरियल में प्रश्नोत्तर है, लिखो, पूरा करो। 7ನೇ ತರಗತಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಾಗತ। ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನದಾನ ಪಾಠಗಳನ್ನು ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಕಲಿತಿದ್ದೀರಲ್ಲ, ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಲ್ಲ, ಓಕೆ। ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ 3ನೇ ಪಾಠವಾಗಿ 7ನೇ ತರಗತಿಯ 3ನೇ ಪಾಠ ಭರತ ಭೂಮಿ ನನ್ನ ತಾಯಿ, ಓಕೆ। ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಪದ್ಯವನ್ನು ಬರೆದಿರೋರು ಕುವೆಂಪುರವರ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಹೆಸರೇನು? ಕುಪ್ಪಳ್ಳಿ ವೆಂಕಟಪ್ಪ ಪುಟ್ಟಪ್ಪ, ಓಕೆ। ಜನನ 29/12/1904, ತಂದೆ ವೆಂಕಟಪ್ಪ ಗೌಡ, ತಾಯಿ ಸೀತಮ್ಮ। ಕುವೆಂಪು ಎಂಬ ಕಾವ್ಯನಾಮದಿಂದ ಪ್ರಸಿದ್ಧರಾದ ಕುಪ್ಪಳ್ಳಿ ವೆಂಕಟಪ್ಪ ಪುಟ್ಟಪ್ಪ ಅವರ ದಿನಾಂಕ 29/12/1904 ಶಿವಮೊಗ್ಗ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯ ತೀರ್ಥಹಳ್ಳಿ ತಾಲೂಕು ಕುಪ್ಪಳ್ಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಜನಿಸಿದರು। ಇವರ ತಂದೆ ವೆಂಕಟಪ್ಪ ಗೌಡ, ತಾಯಿ ತಾಯಿ ಸೀತಮ್ಮ, ತಾಯಿಯ ಊರು ಚಿಕ್ಕಮಗಳೂರು ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯ ಹಿರೇಕೂಡಿ, ಹೇಮಾವತಿಯವರ ಹೆಂಡತಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಈಗ ಭರತ ಭೂಮಿ ನನ್ನ ತಾಯಿ ಪದ್ಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋಣ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಯಾರ ಅಧೀನದಲ್ಲಿದ್ವಿ? ಮೊದಲು ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರ ಅಧೀನದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರ ಅಧೀನದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಅವಾಗ ಸಮಸ್ತ ಕನ್ನಡಿಗರನ್ನು, ಸಮಸ್ತ ಭಾರತೀಯರನ್ನು ಒಂದುಗೂಡುವಂತಹ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಆವಾಗ ಕುವೆಂಪುರವರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು? ಎಲ್ಲ ಜನರನ್ನ, ಭಾರತೀಯರನ್ನು ಒಗ್ಗೂಡಿಸುವುದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಅನೇಕ ಕವನ ಸಂಕಲನಗಳನ್ನು, ಕವಿತೆಗಳನ್ನು ಅವರು ಬರೆದ್ರು. ಎಲ್ಲ ಜನರನ್ನ ಅವರು ಬಡಿದೆಬ್ಬಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಬಾರಿಸು ಕನ್ನಡ ಡಿಂಡಿಮವಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ನನ್ನ ದೇಶ ನನ್ನ ಜನ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತಹ ಕೆಚ್ಚದೆ ಕಿಚ್ಚು ಕೊಡುವಂತಹ ಪದ್ಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಭರತ ಭೂಮಿ ನನ್ನ ತಾಯಿ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪದ್ಯವು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದಾಗಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಪದ್ಯವನ್ನು ಈಗ ನೋಡೋಣ. ಭರತ ಭೂಮಿ ನನ್ನ ತಾಯಿ ನನ್ನ ಪೊರೆವ ತೊಟ್ಟಿಲು, ಜೀವನವನೇ ದೇವಿಗೆರೆವೆ ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಗುಡಿಯ ಕಟ್ಟಲು. ತುಹಿನಗಿರಿಯ ಸಿರಿಯ ಮುಡಿಯ ಹಿರಿಯ ಕಡಲು ತೊಳೆಯುವಡಿಯ, ಪೈರು ಪಚ್ಚೆ ಪಸುರುವಡಿಯ ಭರತ ಭೂಮಿ ನನ್ನ, ಪೈರು ಪಚ್ಚೆ ಪಸುರಿ ನುಡಿಯ ಭರತ ಭೂಮಿ ನನ್ನ ತಾಯಿ ನನ್ನ ಪೊರೆವ ತೊಟ್ಟಿಲು, ಜೀವನವನೇ ದೇವಿಗೆರೆವೆ ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಗುಡಿಯ ಕಟ್ಟಲು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಭರತ ಭೂಮಿ ನನ್ನ ತಾಯಿ ನನ್ನ ಪೊರೆವ ತೊಟ್ಟಿಲು ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕುವೆಂಪುರವರು ಯಾಕೆ ವರ್ಣಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ? ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ತಾಯಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ತೊಟ್ಟಿಲನ್ನು ತೂಗಿ ಮಗು ತರ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸಂರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಳೋ, ಅದೇ ತರನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾರತಾಂಬೆಯು ಸಹ ನಮ್ಗೆ ತಾಯಿ ತರ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಈಗ ತಾಯಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಆಹಾರ, ಗಾಳಿ, ಬೆಳಕು, ನೀರು ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನೇನ್ ಬೇಕು ಒಂದು ಮಗುವಿಗೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಸೌಕರ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ಒದಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಳೋ, ಆ ರೀತಿ ಭಾರತಾಂಬೆಯು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟು, ಬೆಳಕು, ಆಹಾರ, ಗಾಳಿ, ಇನ್ನಿತರ ಏನೇ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅದನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ತೊಟ್ಟಿಲಿನ ತರ, ಮಗುವಿನ ತೊಟ್ಟಿನ ತರ, ತೂಗೋ ತರ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಏನ್ ಕರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? ಭರತ ಭೂಮಿ ನನ್ನ ತಾಯಿ ನನ್ನ ಪೊರೆವ ತೊಟ್ಟಿಲು, ಜೀವನವನೇ ದೇವಿಗೆರೆವೆ ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಗುಡಿಯ ಕಟ್ಟಲು. ಇಂತಹ ಭರತ ಭೂಮಿಗೆ ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ಜೀವನವನ್ನೇ ಸಮರ್ಪಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಕುವೆಂಪುರವರ ತಮ್ಮ ಕವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಶಯವನ್ನು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ತುಹಿನಗಿರಿಯ ಸಿರಿಯ ಮುಡಿಯ ಹಿರಿಯ ಕಡಲು ತೊಳೆಯುವಡಿಯ. ತುಹಿನ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಂಜು, ಮಂಜು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಿಮಾಲಯ ಪರ್ವತಗಳು. ಹಿಮಾಲಯ ಪರ್ವತಗಳು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸುಂದರವಾಗಿವೆ. ದಟ್ಟವಾದ ಸಮುದ್ರಗಳ ನದಿಗಳು, ಇಂತಹ ನದಿಗಳು ಭಾರತಾಂಬೆಯ ಸಿರಿಯ ಮುಡಿಯಂತಿವೆ, ಕಿರೀಟದಂತಿದೆ ಈ ಹಿಮಾಲಯ ಪರ್ವತವು. ಅದು ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? ಭಾರತಾಂಬೆಯ ಪಾದವನ್ನು ತೊಳೆಯೋ ತರ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ತುಹಿನಗಿರಿಯ ಸಿರಿಯ ಮುಡಿಯ ಹಿರಿಯ ಕಡಲು ತೊಳೆಯುವಡಿಯ, ಭಾರತಾಂಬೆಯ ಪಾದವನ್ನು ತೊಳಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ. ಪೈರು ಪಚ್ಚೆ ಪಸಿರುವಡಿಯ, ಈ ರೀತಿ ನದಿಗಳಿಂದ ತುಂಬಿ ತುಳುಕುತ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಹಚ್ಚ ಹಸುರಿನಿಂದ ತುಂಬಿದೆ. ಇಂಥ ಹಚ್ಚ ಹಸುರಿನ ನಾಡು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? ಭಾರತಾಂಬೆಯ ಪಸಿರು ನುಡಿಯ ಸೀರೆ ಉಡಿಸಿದಂತೆ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸುಂದರವಾದ ನೋಟ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕುವೆಂಪುರವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಈ ಕವನದ ಮೂಲಕ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಭರತ ಭೂಮಿ ನನ್ನ ತಾಯಿ ನನ್ನ ಪೊರೆವ ತೊಟ್ಟಿಲು, ಜೀವನವನ್ನೇ ದೇವಿಗೆರೆವೆ ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಗುಡಿಯ ಕಟ್ಟಲು. ಇಂತಹ ಹಿಮಾಲಯದಿಂದ ತುಂಬಿ ತುಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹಚ್ಚ ಹಸುರಿನಿಂದ ತುಂಬಿರೋ ಈ ಭಾರತಾಂಬೆಯನ್ನು ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ಜೀವನವನ್ನೇ ಅರ್ಪಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಅರ್ಪಣೆ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ತಯಾರಾಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕುವೆಂಪುರವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಹೇಳೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಮಸ್ತ ಭಾರತೀಯರಿಗೂ ಇದು ಒಂಥರ ಮಾದರಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಹಾಡು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಈ ಕವನಗಳನ್ನ ಕುವೆಂಪುರವರು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸಿಂಧು ಯಮುನೆ ದೇವಗಂಗೆ ತಪತಿ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಭದ್ರೆ ತುಂಗೆ ಸಲಿಲ ತೀರ್ಥ ಪುಣ್ಯ ಗಂಗೆ, ಭರತ ಭೂಮಿ ನನ್ನ ತಾಯಿ ನನ್ನ ಪೊರೆವ ತೊಟ್ಟಿಲು, ಜೀವನವನ್ನೇ ದೇವಿಗೆರೆವೆ ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಗುಡಿಯ ಕಟ್ಟಲು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂತೆಂಥ ನದಿಗಳಿವೆ, ನೀವು ಯಾವುದೋ ಹಳೆಯ ಶ್ಲೋಕಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು. ಗಂಗೆ, ಯಮುನೆ, ಗೋದಾವರಿ, ಸರಸ್ವತಿ, ನರ್ಮದಾ, ಸಿಂಧು, ಕಾವೇರಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಪುರಾಣಗಳ ಕಾಲದಿಂದಲೂ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನದಿಗಳು ತುಂಬಿ ತುಳುಕುತ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇಂತಹ ಸುಂದರವಾದ ನಾಡು ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಇದು. ಇಂತಹ ಸಿಂಧು, ಯಮುನೆ, ದೇವಗಂಗೆ, ಇಂಥ ನದಿಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಬರೀ ನದಿಗಳಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ದೇವಗಂಗೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕವಿಗಳು ವರ್ಣಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸಿಂಧು, ಯಮುನೆ, ದೇವಗಂಗೆ, ತಪತಿ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಭದ್ರೆ ತುಂಗೆ ಸಲಿಲ ತೀರ್ಥ ಪುಣ್ಯಗಂಗೆ. ಇದು ಬರೀ ನದಿಗಳಲ್ಲ, ಪುಣ್ಯಗಂಗೆ. ಈ ಪುಣ್ಯದ ಗಂಗೆ ತೀರ್ಥದ ತರ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕವಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಂತಹ ಭಾರತಾಂಬೆಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಜೀವನವನ್ನೇ ಅರ್ಪಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕುವೆಂಪುರವರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮತದ ಬಿರುಕುಗಳನ್ನು ತೊರೆವೆ, ನುಡಿಗಳೊಡಕುಗಳನ್ನು ಮರೆವೆ, ತೊತ್ತ ತುಡುಕುಗಳನ್ನು ಬಿರಿವೆ, ಜೀವನವನ್ನೇ ದೇವಿಗೆರೆವೆ ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಗುಡಿಯ ಕಟ್ಟಲು. ಮತದ ಬಿರುಕುಗಳನ್ನು ತೊರೆವೆ, ಒಂದೇ ಭಾಷೆ ಇರೋ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರನ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದೇ ಧರ್ಮ ಇರೋ ದೇಶನ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವಿವಿಧ ಮತಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು. ಕ್ರೈಸ್ತ, ಹಿಂದೂ, ಬೌದ್ಧ, ಮುಸ್ಲಿಂ, ಜೈನ ಎಂತೆಂತಹ ಧರ್ಮದವರು ಇಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆದರೂ ಭಾರತೀಯರಲ್ಲಿ ಭೇದಗಳಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಮತಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ತೊಡೆದು ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡೋಣ, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಭಾರತೀಯರು ಒಂದೇ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಕವನದ ಮೂಲಕ ಕುವೆಂಪುರವರ ಆಶಯವನ್ನು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನುಡಿಗಳೊಡಕುಗಳನ್ನು ಮೆರವೆ. ನುಡಿಗಳನ್ನ ಭಾಷೆ ಒಂದೇ ಇದೆನಾ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ? ಇಲ್ಲ. ಕನ್ನಡ ಮಾತಾಡೋರಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಹಿಂದಿ, ತೆಲುಗು, ಮರಾಠಿ, ಉರ್ದು ಎಂತೆಂಥ ಭಾಷೆಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಆ ಥರ ನುಡಿಗಳೊಡಕುಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮರೆಯೋಣ, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂದೇ ಭಾರತೀಯರು ಅನ್ನೋ ಮನೋಭಾವನೆಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಕವಿಗಳು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ತೊತ್ತ ತುಡುಕುಗಳನ್ನು ಬಿರುವೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಬಡವರಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರು ಶ್ರೀಮಂತರಿಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂದೇ. ಯಾರು ಸೇವಕರಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾಯಕರಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಭಾರತೀಯರು ತಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನವನ್ನು ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಪಿಸಬೇಕು. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶದ ಏಳಿಗೆಗಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನವನ್ನು ಮುಡುಪಾಗಿಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕವಿ ಕುವೆಂಪುರವರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಭರತ ಭೂಮಿ ನನ್ನ ತಾಯಿ, ನನ್ನ ಪೊರೆವ ತೊಟ್ಟಿಲು, ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯದ ಸ್ವರ್ಗ ಕೇರೆ ಪುಣ್ಯ ದೋಣಿ ಮೆಟ್ಟಲು. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸೇರಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಭಾರತೀಯರು ಸೇರಿ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯದ ಮೆಟ್ಟಿಲನ್ನು ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕು. ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರ ದಾಸ್ಯದಿಂದ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಮುಕ್ತರಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯನ್ನು ಕಾಣಲು ಒಗ್ಗೂಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಕುವೆಂಪುರವರು ತಮ್ಮ ಕವನಗಳ ಮೂಲಕ ಎಲ್ಲ ಭಾರತೀಯರನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಡಿದು ಎಬ್ಬಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಓಕೆ, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ ನಿಮಗೆ ಈ ಪದ್ಯದ ಸಾರಾಂಶ? ಪ್ರಶ್ನೋತ್ತರಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿ. ಓಕೆ.
Good morning, children. Today I am going to take the 7th standard subject English, and the second topic is, that means the second chapter is the soldier's son. The author of this lesson is Shobha Ghosh. In this lesson we are going to see the boy of 10 to 12 years. He was the son of the soldier. How he saved his life and how he went to the commander, and what the parcel was given by the pilot, how he has reached him, and after reaching, how he has gone to the same place to rescue the pilot, and after that how he was wounded and how he encouraged the commander. This all we are going to see in this lesson. First of all, one day what happens, when the boy of 10 to 12 years, he was seeing in the sky, he saw a pilot. He saw a pilot coming with his parachute, because his aeroplane was crashed and it was caught with the fire, and the pilot was coming down. When he was coming down, the boy saw from the far that one of the man is coming from the parachute, and he immediately ran to the place, and before he ran to the place, the pilot reached the ground and he was bleeding with the blood, and he was unable to walk. At that time, when the boy name was Maqbul, what he did, he went to help the pilot. When he went to help the pilot, when he woke up and when he was about to walk, he was unable to walk because all his body and his hands were full of blood. Then what did the Maqbul did? But also he encouraged him to walk, but the pilot said, I cannot walk. Then Maqbul said, if you are unable to walk, the enemies are near to you. They will come and catch you. But what did the pilot did? He gave a parcel. He gave a parcel to Maqbul to give to the commander office, and the parcel should be reached to the Air Force station of Ambala at night. But also what did Maqbul did? But also he tried to help the pilot, but he was not in the need to walk or come there. What the pilot did? He said, I'll be here. You just go and give the parcel. Then what did Maqbul did? He went running to the commander's office, but none of the Sipai allowed him to go because he was a boy. Then he said, I am the boy who has bought the parcel from the pilot whose plane has been crashed today. Then all the Sipais were very in shock, and they immediately ring up to commander, and he said them to send to the boy. When the boy went to the commander Saab, what he did? He gave the parcel. What parcel? Which was given by the pilot to reach for the Air Force station of Ambala tonight. Then what did commander ask? How is our pilot? Then the Maqbul narrates the whole incident, what has happened there, and how he has been wounded and how the enemy are near. But he gives the one suggestion that he is in
the bushy trees, so you people can go and help him. I will come along with you. Then what the commander does, he takes all his army and he goes to the place where the pilot was there. Then the boy shows the place where he has fallen down and where he was taking the rest. And what did the commanders have to do? He took the armies and he surrounded all the enemies around him. And what the enemies did, that they were unable to take the war and they put all the guns down and they were raising their hands up. When do they raise hands up? When they are unable to save themselves, they raise their hands, and the commander, he took all the enemies to their office. And what is the boy did? He was just standing there, but unconsciously he fell down. Why did he fall down? One of the enemy, he had hit the weapon and his boy's leg was in pain and the blood was coming down. At once one of the officers sees him and he carries him in his hands. But the boy was very brave. But until he was unconscious, he said, "No, I am the son of soldier. Because I am the son of soldier, my father has worked for the nation and he has sacrificed his life, and I am not the person who gives my life in such an easy way." And what does this boy says to the commander? A soldier never weeps, sir, because when the commander was catching the boy in his hand, when the blood was going, what commander does? Tears comes in his eyes. But what does the boy say? "No, sir, the soldiers never weeps." Weep means crying. Then the commander recalls his son when he was dead in the 1971 war. After this all, when the boy was cured, what does the commander say? "You will be one day soldier." What does the boy say? "Yes, sir, one day I have to become a soldier who want to give my life for and who want to sacrifice the life for our nation." Thank you, children. After this lesson, you have to write your notes.
Good morning, students. Today we are discussing the 7th standard science chapter, that is 3rd chapter, fiber to fabric. In the 6th standard, we have learnt about where the fibers obtained. Those are obtained from both the animals and plants. Listen to it. And you have also learnt about the wool and silk obtained from animal fibers. Listen to it. And the wool is obtained, especially obtained from the fleece of the goat or sheep animal. Listen to it. Fleece here, fleece refers to hair of the animal, hair of the goat or sheep. Okay. And are you aware about that how the woolen that we buy from the market are made converted into woolen yarn from the fibers, and how the silk fibers are made into silk cloth? You don't know. Listen to it. Let us find answers to these questions in this chapter, that is fiber to fabric. Okay. And here first we are discussing about the processing of fiber to woolen. First we are discussing about woolen cloth. Listen to it. The first step is removing of the hairy coat of the sheep is known as shearing. Removing of the hair coat from its protective, along with its protective layer from the sheep is called as shearing. And the next step is scoring, that is washing out the hairy skin in the tanker to remove the grease and dust which is present on that hairy skin. That is called as scoring. Scoring here is the removing the dust and grease from that hairy skin. We should wash it, right? That process we call it as scoring. And the third step is sorting. That is, we send that washed hairy skin to the different factories to separate the textures of that sheep, hairy skin. Listen to it. That is called as sorting. Sorting is here means separating the different structures of that fibers, or the hair of that skin. Okay. And then fourth step is, that is removing the fluffy fibers. Here fluffy fibers means small fibers which are present on that hair. Okay. Removing those fibers are also called as burrs. Burrs are the small fluffy fibers which are present on the hair. We should have to remove them, and then those are again get scoured. Scoured here means they are again get washed out, and then those fibers which are ready, those fibers are then colored as the original color of the sheep and goat or hair color is white, brown and black color. Listen to it. To obtain different colors, we should have to dye them. Dye means coloring of that hair. And then those fibers get clothing. The long elongated fibers are made into woolen for making sweaters, and the smaller bursts are made into woolen cloth. Listen to it. In this following step, we have discussed about how the fibers get into woolen cloth. Listen to it. And in the next step, what are the process going to take place to obtain the silk from the silk moth, like we discussed. Okay, before going to discuss those process, let us discuss the life history of that silk moth. Okay, silk moth is an organism which eats the silk fibers. What are the stages? When the female silk moth hatches the eggs at 100 eggs, it hatches out at a single time. It hatches 100 eggs. Those eggs are converted into the larval stage. Here, when larvae comes, that larval stage is called as caterpillar stage. That grows in size and eats enormous amount of mulberry leaves to attain its next stage, that is pupa stage. During the pupa stage formation, it holds itself by covering the protein coat. That protein coat contains the silk fibers. Okay, that stage is called as this cocoon stage. Cocoon stage is formation of silk thread or the protein coat around it to protect it from its environmental conditions. It may make a coat. That coat is called as silk fibers or the protein coat that contains the silk fibers. And what are the process going to take place to remove the silk fibers from this cocoon stage to make silk? That we are going to discuss now. Okay, and then firstly, we have to define a term, that is sericulture. Sericulture here means rearing of the silkworms to obtain the silk cloth. This is known as sericulture. Culturing of the silk moths. We are growing the silkworms in the larger scale to obtain the silk from that silkworms. That is known as sericulture. And then first step in getting the silk from the cocoon stage is, that is processing of silk. When the silk moth or the female silk moth hatches the 100 eggs, it should be kept in a carefully in a paper, and then it should be kept in a tray which is supplied with the mulberry leaves, because it have to attain the pupa stage. In the pupa, before that pupa stage, it should attain the cocoon stage. In the cocoon stage, it covers itself by the protein coat, that is silk fibers. Okay, and when it covers with the silk fibers, that is cocoon stage, in the cocoon stage it covers with the silk fibers, then it will be kept for the sunlight, or it is steamed out, or it is heat. The silk fibers get separated from that cocoon stage. Now the silk fibers are separated from that silk or that cocoon stage. Then those fibers are undergone an process that is called reeling of silk. Here reeling of silk means obtaining the silk threads from that silk fibers is called as reeling of silk, and the silk threads are made into silk cloth or silk saree. In this following steps, we have learned the process, what are the processes are going to take place to obtain the silk from the cocoon stage of the silk moth. And this concludes your chapter, that is fiber to fabric. And one more, that is different types of breeds of sheep and goats are given in your textbook. That is table had been given. That is different types of breed are given. Sheep, moth, which yield wool yielding animals are given. Just have a look into that table. Thank you.
Yes, good morning students. Let us today we discuss about the third chapter, that is data handling. Okay. In that first one, that is arithmetic mean. See, arithmetic mean means the most common representative value of a group of data is the arithmetic mean, and that can be written as mean is equal to sum of all observation divided by number of observations. Okay. Let us take one example. A batsman scored the following number of runs in 6 innings, that is 36, 35, 50, 46, 60 and 55. Okay. Let's calculate the mean for the given data. Okay. See, for this example, we have to find the mean. Okay, mean for the given data. Okay. See, the actually total runs of the batsman, that is 36 plus 35 plus 50 plus 46 plus 60 plus 55, that is 282. Okay, the total runs are equal to 282. Actually we have to find the mean for the given data. So already we know the definition of mean, that is mean is equal to sum of all observations. See, sum of the scores, that is 282 divided by number of observations. See how many data are there. See 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, divided by 6. Okay, we simplify this one, we get 47. 47 is the average score, mean of the given data. Okay, next one, that is range. Range is the difference between the largest and the smallest number. Range means the difference between the largest number and smallest number. Let us take one example. The ages in years of 10 teachers of a school are 32, 41, 28, 54, 35, 26, 23, 33, 38, 40. Okay, in that first question, what is the age of the oldest teacher and that of the youngest teacher? Second one, what is the range of the ages of the teacher? And third one, what is the mean ages of the teacher? Okay, see, first one, see, what is the age of the oldest teacher and that of the youngest teacher? See, first we arrange the numbers in ascending order. Means first we have to write the lowest number, that is 23. After we write biggest number, that is 26. Next 28, 32, 33, 35, 38, 40, 41, 54. Okay, see, the question is like this. The oldest teacher and that of the youngest teacher. The youngest teacher age is 23 and the oldest age of the teacher is 54. Okay, next second question, what is the range of the age of the teacher? See, range, already we know the definition of range. Range means that is the difference between the largest and the smallest number. The largest number, see, the largest number is 54 and the smallest number is 23. The difference between, see, the difference between largest number and smallest number. If you differentiate this number, we get 31. Okay, this is the range of the given data. And the third question, what is the mean age of the teacher? See, already we know the definition of mean. Mean means that is sum of all observation divided by number of observation. We have to add the all data divided by number of data. See how many data are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 divided by 10. Okay, if we add this numerator, we get 350 divided by denominator 10. Okay, if we simplify, we get 35. Okay, this is the mean of the given data. Next, mode. See, the mode of a set of observation is observation that occurs most often. Means ಯಾವ ನಂಬರ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಾರಿ ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಮೋಡ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸಪೋಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಫೈಂಡ್ ದ ಮೋಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಗಿವನ್ ಡಾಟಾ 1 1 2 4 3 2 1 2 2 4. Okay, see, first we arrange the numbers, arrange the data in ascending order. See, that is 1 1 1. See, 1 how many times repeated? 3 times. Okay, next the number 2 how many times repeated? Yes, how many times? 4 times. 1 2 3 4 times. Next number, that is 3, only one time, that is right, one time, only 1 3. Next 4, the number 4 is repeated how many times? 2 times, right? 2 times 4. Okay, see, in this data the number 2 is repeated 4 times. Is it right? So that's why the mode for the given data is 2. Okay, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಾರಿ ಪುನರಾವರ್ತನೆ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ಮೋಡ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Okay, next, that is median. Median means the middle term, middle number, we call it as median. Let us take one example. Find the median for 17. Find the median for 24, 36, 46, 17, 18, 25 and 35. Okay, first we arrange the numbers data in ascending order. Then we get 17, 18, 24, 25, 55, 36 and 46. See, actually these are, if you count this number, we get 7 numbers are there. Means we left the first 3 terms or last 3 terms, and the middle term is 25. Therefore, the median is 25. Okay. Thank you.